Hey guys, so today I want to talk about a study that I've been working on that basically talks about how a person's taste in music can tell you about their personality. First off, credit goes to Practical Deduction for starting this study and giving me his notes on the subject so that I can work on it further. To make time for another project, he suggested I take over this study. That and I have a background in music, so he thought it seemed like a good fit to have me work on this. So thanks to him for giving me his notes, which were very helpful in compiling resources on this topic. Also, before I get started, a quick announcement. Practical Deduction, another deductionist and I are going to be starting a website type thing that's going to be like a blog slash a place to post our daily deductions, plus a place to store our deduction studies, like the one I'm about to tell you, so that we have sort of a go-to resource, so that you can go there and get access to our studies that we've been working on and our deduction information, and also possibly a place where we can post where you can post problems for us to solve. Post a problem, we can try and use deduction to solve the problems, and basically that's what that's going to be. So I will keep you up to date as the situation develops. We're going to be working on it tomorrow, so hopefully I'll have some information by the next video about what we're working on. So let's get into the music study. Okay, first off, we have genres of music and how they relate to people's personality. The first genre is classical. Now, classical music listeners tend to be, statistically, more intelligent, more creative. They tend to be introverted as well. They also tend to be more secure, okay? They're not insecure people. Now, it's kind of a stereotype that classical music listeners are more intelligent, but there is a truth to that, because to appreciate classical music, you have to be able to appreciate complex patterns and harmonies and counter melodies and rhythms and things like that. So, classical music, highly intelligent, creative, introverted, and secure. Heavy metal is actually surprisingly similar to classical music. Some of the same things, some of the same traits apply to people who listen to heavy metal. Hip-hop, rap, and dance, and electronic, and these kind of very rhythm-based musics, kind of think basically anything that you dance to, modern dance music. These people tend to be more extroverted, more social, higher self-esteem, more uninhibited, I guess is a good way to put it. Which makes sense, because rap is all about ego. To put it simply, rap is very egocentric, okay? So those people tend to have higher self-esteem, and since a lot of this music, like dance and hip-hop, is all about rhythm and dancing, and these people tend to be more social, more extroverted. You go somewhere to dance, we go to it's a social event, basically, whenever you go to a club or something like that. So this kind of makes sense. Now, popular music, more common popular music. These people are social and outgoing, more honest, but they lack creativity, which makes sense because a lot of popular music is very similar in style. So there's less creativity, but they're honest about it, basically. More social, more outgoing. One study, however, said that people who listen to that kind of music tend to be more anxious, more nervous, or worried. I don't know what the correlation there comes from exactly, but that's what it says. Now, because I compiled all these resources from a couple of different scientific studies, I'm not just making this stuff up. Classic rock, these people tend to be hard workers, tend to be more laid back, a little bit more self-centered as well. Indie rock, these people tend to be more creative, more open to new experience, I guess, but have lower self-esteem and a lower work ethic. Punk rock, these people tend to be more intense and energetic, but have lower empathy. Okay, so these people are not hugely empathetic people. folk, jazz, and blues. These are actually quite similar to classical music. These are more reflective, open-minded, and creative people who enjoy this type of music. But there's a similarity also to the classical genre, which makes sense, especially for jazz. Classical and jazz are very related in the fact that they both rely on complex rhythms and patterns and harmonies. So people who listen to classical and jazz, more intellectual. Country music is the last one. Country music, these people tend to be more honest and empathetic, but less open to new experience, I guess. These people tend to be very hard-working people, but they're more about not going outside their comfort zone. Okay, so that makes sense. Now, another study basically divided music and personality into a sort of a spectrum. On one end, you have music with complex intellectual aspects. On the other side, you have emotional aspects. Basically, people who enjoy you got mellow music that evokes deep emotion. These people tend to be more empathetic and more about emotions and feelings. Whereas on the other side, you've got intense, complex sounds and patterns. You've got classical and jazz on this end. These people tend to be more intellectual, obviously. They tend to gravitate towards more math and science occupations like meteorology and geology and things that work with numbers and patterns, accounting probably, things like that. Whereas on the other side, the side with the emotion, you have more people gravitating towards occupations. Now, remember, this is a general rule. You should always look for confirmation of any of the things that you deduce. You should look for other cues that can indicate the same thing. But on this side, you've got people who work more with people's emotions, like social workers and healthcare providers and people who basically work with people. Here you've got working with numbers and data. Here you've got working with people and emotions, okay? So that's kind of how the music divides into a spectrum, along with personality. Now, a couple of notes that Practical Deduction and I figured out based on our own reasoning. I tested these and they seem to hold up in practice. People might pretend to like classical or jazz music in order to appear more intelligent or more sophisticated. This is definitely true. One of the ways that you can spot someone who's pretending to like classical, to a certain extent, if they act like classical is the only type of music they like and everything else is just, there's no value in any other type of music, these people might be faking it. Because I like classical music. It's my favorite genre of music. Well, actually, film music is my favorite genre. Classical is second. Very close second. But I appreciate other types of music as well. It's not like I think classical is the only music there is, and there's not because classical music, there are elements in classical music that extend to other types of music, like jazz, like blues, like rock. Other elements, classical is sort of the ancestor of a lot of types of music, and to think that no other types of music have any value, and classical music is the only one, is something I see very rarely in people who actually like classical music. Most people who like classical music appreciate other styles as well. Another thing that can indicate that someone is pretending to like classical or jazz to appear intelligent is if they display an elementary knowledge of the subject. People who say they like classical music, but they only know of Bach, Beethoven, and Mozart. Who doesn't know of Bach, Beethoven, and Mozart? If their knowledge only extends that far, they're probably faking it, because real classical music listeners know more about people like Berlioz and Shostakovich and Mahler and Tchaikovsky and various other composers as well. Rimsky-Korsakov, that's a good one, but I digress. Pieces of music that stand out from a person's preferred genre can indicate things that it can indicate that this piece, the idea, the emotion, or the point of this piece of music resonates with this person in a particular way. For example, if there's a certain message in the music that resonates with the person, they might like this piece of music not because of the music, but because of the message behind it. Okay? So if one piece of music stands out from the others, listen to what the music might be saying. What is the message behind this music, and see how how that might be influencing this person's decision to like this music. This could be an aspect of their personality that you are able to deduce based on the fact that they like this piece of music. Also, if a piece of music stands out, it can also indicate that it is associated with an important thing or an important person or an important moment in their life. For example, a case where this guy's girlfriend liked a particular type of music, and there was one song that was her favorite. I was able to figure, I wasn't able to, since I didn't do the musical deduction yet, I was not able to deduce this. However, I did ask him why, basically. But he liked a certain genre of music. It was like country music was one of the only things he listened to. Then one piece of modern pop music, and I was like, this stands out. What is the reason for this? It was his girlfriend's favorite song. So basically, an emotional connection to a piece of music can stem from an emotional connection to something with which you associate that piece of music. So that's another thing you might get out of that. Now, this video has gone on for a little bit longer than I was expecting. I might talk about the subject more in the future, but this should give you some basics to work with as far as musical deduction goes. I've tested this in practice, and it has seemed to work pretty well so far. So how you determine a person's taste in music, that's entirely up to you. It's an observation thing, as I mentioned. It's basically you've got to be able to see. You can either see a person's, like, for example, if a person still uses CDs, if you can see what kind of CDs they have on their shelf, what type of music that is, what type of music is on their iPod or their smartphone. If they've got a music app, I was able to look over someone's shoulder once, subtly I hope, and observe as they flip through the music on their smartphone, and I was able to get a quick glimpse at the kind of music they listen to based on that. So how you determine their musical tastes, that's up to you, but once you have it, you can apply this study, apply this knowledge to try and glean some information from that. But remember, as always, you should confirm your deductions with other things as well. This can kind of give you a general view of this person's personality, which can kind of help you learn more about them. Like, it'll teach you about the decisions they make and that sort of thing. So if you like this video, I would appreciate it if you liked, commented, subscribed, whatever. Also, stay up to date for information about the website that Practical Deduction and I are working on. And I want to thank you for watching this video, and I will see you next time. Bye.